In the last class, we discussed about types of pollinations. Those are autogamy, geitonogamy, and xenogamy. In this class, let us learn about double fertilization. Okay, we know that after pollination, we can see pollen grains on stigma. So here in this diagram, you can see pollen grain is there on the stigma, and this stigma it actually secretes some sugars. By the attraction of these sugars, pollen grain it germinates on stigma. So this is one of the best example for chemotropism. So the result is the formation of pollen tube, and that pollen tube it penetrates stigma, style, ovary, and finally it reaches to the ovule. And here this pollen tube it have to enter into the embryo sac. Embryo sac is there in the nucellus, right? So here this pollen tube it may enter through micropylar region, that is known as porogamy, or sometimes it may be enter through these integuments, that is known as mesogamy, and sometimes through chalaza also, that is called as chalazogamy. So whatever it may be, finally pollen tube enters this ovule and it reaches to the embryo sac. Embryo sac is it is also called as a female gametophyte, right? Which is 7-celled 8-nucleated structure. So here you can see the clear picture of embryo sac. So now this embryo sac towards its chalazal end we can see 3 antipodals, and towards micropylar end we can see egg apparatus, which consisting of 1 egg and 2 synergids, right? And central cell it is having 2 polar nuclei also. Now what happens whenever this pollen tube it enters, it comes and it touches this embryo sac like this. Then what happens? We know that in this egg apparatus synergids they play very important role now. Synergids they are having finger-like projections. Those are called as filiform apparatus. So these filiform apparatus they guide the pollen tube for the entry of this pollen tube into the embryo sac, right? So now this pollen tube it penetrates and it enters through the synergid into the embryo sac like this, and where it releases 2 male nuclei. So these are the 2 male nuclei. It releases 2 male nuclei. Okay. Now what happens? So one male nuclei or one male nucleus it is going to fuse with egg cell. So here we can write one male nucleus it is fuses with egg, which results in the formation of zygote. This is zygote. Okay, and here male nucleus it is haploid, egg also haploid, and haploid plus haploid, zygote that is diploid. This process it is actually called as syngamy. Okay, and it is also called as fertilization. Syngamy or fertilization. So what happens here? One male nucleus it fuses with egg and it results in the formation of zygote, and zygote is diploid, and this process is known as syngamy or fertilization. And here one more male nucleus is there, right? So this one more male nucleus is going to fuse with 2 polar nuclei. So polar nuclei are there in the central cell. So this is polar nuclei, n plus n, 2 nuclei are there. So here second male nucleus it fuses with polar nuclei. Okay, so here what happens? See, male nucleus this is haploid, and polar nuclei means n plus n. This is diploid structure because 2 male nuclei are here in the central cell. Okay, so this second male nucleus it is fuses with this polar nuclei and it results in the formation of pen. Pen means primary endosperm nucleus. Pen means primary endosperm nucleus. Primary endosperm nucleus. P for primary, E for endosperm, N for nucleus. Okay. So now this primary endosperm nucleus is triploid in condition. It is triploid. See why? One male nucleus haploid, two polar nuclei diploid plus haploid. This is triploid in condition. That is primary endosperm nucleus. So this process, the formation of primary endosperm nucleus by the fusion of one male nucleus and two polar nuclei is called as triple fusion. Triple fusion. Why it is called as triple fusion? Because here fusion of three nuclei are taking place, right? One male nucleus and two polar nuclei. So this is called as a triple fusion. Pen is the result of triple fusion. Zygote is the result of syngamy or fertilization. So here what is happening? Two fertilizations are takes place. One is syngamy, another one is triple fusion, right? So here we can write syngamy plus triple fusion. They are collectively called as double fertilization. Okay. So in double fertilization, what is the result of double fertilization? Formation of zygote and formation of primary endosperm nucleus. Zygote is diploid, primary endosperm nucleus is triploid, and zygote further it develops into embryo, and primary endosperm nucleus divides and it forms endosperm, which is nutritive tissue, and this nutritive tissue is called as endosperm, and that is going to nourish the developing embryo. Right? So this is all about double fertilization in angiosperms. Thank you.